The first set of the day will be played on Akilon Wastes. Spawn in the top left-hand position as the green Protoss player from STX Seoul, been really making a name for himself recently. His name is Deer.
His opponent spawns in the bottom right position of the map. Red Protoss playing for SKT1 did lose a PvP in the first set, but today he needs to win his match. His name is Parting.
Parting's shown some good games on this map. He's shown some interesting cheeses, and we did see a lot of cheese back and forth between both teams in day number 1. So we could certainly see that replicated once again in day number 2 as these teams face against each other. Parting known for throwing him some very interesting cheeses here and there, especially on this map. We've seen him do some very aggressive pushes early on in the game.
Now the PvP is the key point for STX Seoul versus SKT1. We even have 3 additional PvPs playing today, and yesterday in the first round of the semi-playoffs, the PvPs all went to STX Seoul.
Indeed, that's why it's so important for that to be really the anchor point here for each team. Can't stress that enough, how important the PvP matches are today. And so far, no crazy proxies instantly. We can certainly see maybe some proxy, Dark Shrines or Stargates later on in the game, but it's going to be a little bit before that happens.
Yeah, in fact, I expect Parting to play a little bit safer than yesterday. He might go same build against his opponent, but he needs to make sure the same thing does not happen two days in a row. So he needs to make sure that if his opponent is going for the same build, he doesn't get contained inside the main base and rather push his opponent out of the natural base such that he can take natural expansion and dart his opponent later into the game.
Indeed. Parting certainly would be considered the more aggressive player between the two here. Deer more of a reactionary safe player, just overall focusing on a solid style, but he can still pull out the stops when needed. Parting, he's certainly capable of macro play as well and being a little bit more defensive. It just really, whatever he's feeling today, but generally he has stated that the aggression works for him.
Yeah, the aggression works. That's the reason why he is an aggressive player in Pro League. If it works, why not just stick to that build order and you're going to get the wins no matter what. That's what Parting told me when I was talking to him a little bit before the whole postseason started. Now, yesterday, of course, he tried to go for an aggressive build against his opponent, but it was the same build and he got trapped inside the main base. So this time around, he needs to make sure that the same thing does not happen. Deer's Pro, of course, scouting inside the main base, does see the number of pylons, does even see the Zealot being built from the gateway and the additional soccer.
Yep, spotting 3 pylons means no proxies in sight. Parting, though, he's going to go for the Stargate in the main base. And his opponent from STX Seoul going for the Twilight Tech instead. He could go into DTs, and the Stargate will be able to spot that if he goes for an early Oracle, which is very likely when you're opening Stargate nowadays. The Mothership Core is moving across the map, so there's a good chance that both players' tech could end up getting scouted. We also see a second additional gateway being added on for Parting as well, bolstering his defenses, making sure he doesn't get overrun early on in the game to some aggression from his opponent, Deer.
Parting just checking to make sure, just making sure that there is no proxy Stargate around this main base, as his own Stargate is going to finish right now, and he is building Phoenixes right after. I like this play. Some players love to go for the Oracles, try to kill some probes inside the main base, but Phoenixes are slightly faster and they can go inside the main base and completely scout what their opponent is doing. So Parting, yes, he might play aggressive. He knows how to play aggressive, but he could apply... he could play passive and play safe today.
Hold that thought. Okay, the Mothership Core is going to get enough energy to recall, and he even scouts the Phoenix, but this also means that the Phoenix could move over to Deer's base and potentially pick off that Mothership Core if there's not enough anti-air there. It looks like we have a little bit of latency issues here. Potentially one of the players could have dropped, but if that's the case, then we will simply resume the game from replay. Sets.
Well, this is kind of normal when it comes to the playoffs, as both teams, they really want to make most out of every single set. So 3, 2, 1, we are going to go back into the game as Deer recalls his Mothership Core back to his main base.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we're back here. The Stargate's been scouted, but that's fine. Everything is exactly how it was. And, oh, look at this, though. Very interesting. We have an Oracle in production instead of additional Phoenixes from Parting.
Well, I'm not too sure if Parting got a scouting Phoenix inside his opponent's main base right away, so he might be making the Oracle to harass his opponent later, or he might be making the Oracle to buy enough time, get the vision out just in case if his opponent went for the Dark Shrine. He does scout that his opponent is going for Blink, however, and the Oracle is going to finish.
Oh, okay, he does have a second Phoenix here added into the mix. All right, that makes sense. And the Oracle is just completed now, going to head across the map. I guess Parting can save that Oracle for later on in the game where he can do some critical damage. Should that be the case? Nice job from Parting. Just going to pick up a few units here. Oh, the Phoenix low on health. One more hit and it would fall. But luckily the Phoenix gets out alive. Now here's the big issue for Parting. He's going to be fighting against a lot of Blink Stalkers. The Blink has completed, and he's going to go for an expansion behind this, so this can't actually really be punished too much by Parting. And oh, one Phoenix gets picked off. Another one now low on health, losing all of its shields, some of its armor. Needs to be really careful. Forward Blink as well. The Phoenix only with 10 health. Oh,
but the Stalkers are out of position right now. The Oracle sneaking inside the main base. What does she have? Low energy Mothership Core. That means the Oracles can eat away on the probes all day long. 3 probes have been killed so far, and the 4th one also being picked off.
Very, very smart mind games from Parting, killing up to 8 workers. Ridiculous on his end. And the Phoenix still actually alive right now, completely mind gaming his opponent. Oh my gosh, look at that, up to 14 kills on the Oracle, 16 probes killed in total. That is ridiculous. And Parting behind this, grabbing an expansion. He's already got an Immortal out as well to help against the Blink Stalkers. His positioning. Look at the worker count difference, 30 to 14, and we do see Deer moving across the map, knowing that he needs to even out this game somewhat in order to kind of come back and make something work for him. But I don't know, Parting's already got a decent amount of units out here.
Yeah, the problem is the Blink Stalkers, yes, you can micro them, but as long as Parting has decent force fields and the Immortal does not get picked off, as long as the second Immortal joins the fight, he's going to be fine. The Blink Stalkers go for the first Immortal, second Immortal also getting picked off, but the Zells are eating away on the Stalkers.
Indeed they are. The Immortals do get picked off. The Sentry's almost down as well, but the Zell account has to be respected here. The Stalkers, in theory, can eventually kite out those units, but Parting, all he needs is a few Stalkers, this Immortal to come out, and he is going to be just fine against the Stalkers here. Deer behind this, starting to build a few more probes, but these Stalkers, they're not doing the critical damage they need to do in this situation. Additional units being popped out here. The Stalker count, though, starting to get pretty high here. The Immortal is out. That should end up scaring Deer away. But one force field goes down, not going to help out too much.
The problem is Deer canceled his Nexus. This is all or nothing situation for him as he only has 3 gateways back at home. He's building an extra pylon, but he needs to make this attack work.
Oh, Nexus Cannon going down at the natural, going to buy Parting some precious time that he needs in order to stabilize in this position. If he can identify that Deer is all in with this, then Parting should theoretically be able to hold here as long as he doesn't lose his Immortals, as long as he keeps reinforcing with more and more units. He should be okay. The Stalkers, they may try to get in a good position here, but no, a second Immortal, additional Stalkers. The positioning from Parting is crucial here. He is warping in a few more units, but you know, as time goes on, things are going to look better and better for SK Telecom Protoss.
Yeah, just looking at the situation, we have the third Immortal out of the way. Once the third Immortal is out, Deer's aggression is not going to work out anymore. So he's just waiting for the Nexus Cannon to finish at the natural and going to hit a timing right now. With the Mothership Core arriving, this is Deer's one last chance.
This is going to be at a second Nexus Cannon going down as well. Stalkers forward blinking, trying to pick up some of these Immortals, but you know, Parting, oh no, one of his Immortals is stuck behind the Stalkers, trying to micro that forward here, and the problem is Deer, he only has a few Stalkers left. Parting still has 3 Immortals in the mix. He can even pick off 1 or 2 of them, but it doesn't matter. He simply doesn't have enough units here. Parting, he's going to be able to defend with the Nexus Cannon, with the Immortals. He's pushing back his opponent. Deer running out of options now. He is behind and only by 2 probes, but the big difference here is the tech and the additional expansion.
Yeah, Deer has no room to fall back on right now as he still only has 3 gateways. Only tech he has right now is Blink against the Immortals. Once the 4th Immortal comes out, Parting, he can just push down the ramp. He even double confirms that the Nexus has been delayed from Deer as he's getting up to 4th Immortal right now, getting a Twilight Council, knowing that he is really far ahead in this game. Looking at the supply count, 63 Parting, 39 Deer.
And so in this position, with that Phoenix scouting, he's going to be able to spot for any potential DT tech switch, which could be pretty much the only thing that would put Deer back in this game. But with the Robo out, it's only a matter of building an Observer. Parting, he can go for the counter blink if he wants in order to finish off his opponent. He can even get DTs of his own. The Stalkers moving forward here from Deer. They're not going to accomplish anything, though. Force the blink back. And, I mean, at this point, it's just a very minor contain on Parting's end from Deer. But really just... it's going to be very, very hard, if not impossible, for Deer to come back in this game.
He is going to lose to Phoenix because of the Blink Stalker, but the Phoenix already did its job scouting inside the main base, knowing that there's no tech switch happening at this point. Looking at the probe difference, we have 36 probes from Parting, only 27 from Deer, and if you look at the main army, Deer only has Gateway Army, while Parting, he has up to 5 Immortals against the Blink Stalkers.
He's already managed to outproduce his opponent in Stalkers as well, up to 7 in total here for Parting. He's getting the counterblink as well, like we mentioned earlier. Once the counterblink is done, I have a feeling Parting is going to move out and attempt to end the match.
Well, if you have a counterblink, all you have to do is push out, and why not? Why not? If you sit inside your main base, you're only giving your opponent a little more chance to come back into this game. So Parting, he wants to push out on the map right now. The problem is he doesn't have the blink to chase the Stalkers away. That's the only reason why he's waiting for it. And look at this, he's going to try to blink inside the main base, but Parting already knows what Deer has to do to come back into this game.
Parting, he's just on top of everything. There is... pretty much he's handled everything perfectly. This game is micro and macro both been phenomenal in this situation. He's going to move out now. He has 5 Immortals in the mix. The blink only seconds from completion. He's moving out now, bringing a probe with him as well. Picks off a Stalker, and Deer is going to be forced onto the defensive. There's no way he can try to make something happen with, going for a base trade scenario. In this situation, it's simply not going to cut it.
Parting knows that he is ahead in this game. He has the counterblink against his opponent. All he has to do is charge forward and get set number 1 for SK Telecom T1.
All right, it's Parting's time to shine. Marching forward here, there are some sentries in the mix, doing their best that they can in this situation. The Nexus Cannon goes down as well. We have force fields that could potentially trap some of these Immortals. That would be the best bet for Deer, but I just think that the overall army count is just too high for Parting in this situation. Regardless of the force fields, this is simply not going to be enough. Parting continuing to press forward. Some of his forces are getting segmented off here, but the Immortals still getting a decent ground here. The probes being pulled off the natural mineral line as well. This is the last shot for Deer if he wants to make a defense here. He's doing a good job microing, but the problem is Parting simply has too many units. The Immortals, forward blink from the Stalkers on Parting's end, and with that, pretty much every single unit's been taken out. GG is called. Parting takes game number 1 over Deer and STX Seoul.
Yeah, Parting, he defended against his opponent really well, and the Oracle earlier in the game, killing up to 14 probes before getting taken out, changed Deer's build from going for a safer expansion to an all-in build, which did not work out at all as soon as Parting scouted what was coming his way.
I absolutely love the mind games that Parting did early in the game. That Oracle, I think, was the key to this game for Parting. And, of course, his Stellar defense later on against Deer's all-in was perfect. He handled that like a champ, just chronoing out as much Immortals as possible, getting a high Zealot count just to deter the Blink Stalkers. Even if they blinked on top of the Immortals, they would still take heavy amounts of damage. So now, the score currently 1-0. SK Telecom leading over STX Seoul. This could be the beginning of a comeback and a victory for SK Telecom T1 today as they take the first match. And in this second set, we are going to have a rematch from day number 1. It's going to be a ZVZ Hiva versus Sue on New Fighting Spirit.